With a sharp crack, a crack appeared, and the already volatile atmosphere outside grew even more restless. The actions of Yan Xuan and Xun'er had already caused dissatisfaction among many factions. However, since the Yao clan had not intervened, they were unwilling to express their anger. What's going on? At this moment, everyone's gaze was still fixed on the crystalline prism. They had now entered the final step of the alchemical process, and the next stage was particularly dangerous. After all, in previous grand ceremonies, many alchemists had lost their lives when trying to seize the energy of heaven and earth during the refining process. Such scenes were undeniably the most dramatic moments of the ceremony. Leader, are you troubled by something? Although Yao Xuan had been keeping an eye on Xiao Yan, he was helpless since Xiao Yan had either deliberately hidden or been lucky enough to avoid detection. Since his ethereal ascension, his image had vanished from the crystalline prism, and there was nothing they could do. That brat Xiao Yan. I'm afraid he really might. At this moment, Yan Xuan, without his usual arrogance, could only shake his head and sigh. How could this be? The Yao Yichen siblings are the Yao clan's geniuses of a century. With them, the top title will undoubtedly belong to us. After all, Xiao Yan can't possibly gather the materials for the semi-saint grade medicinal formula. Yao Xuan still couldn't believe it. Do you know about the creatures guarding and the treasures in the spirit sea? Yan Xuan whispered. The ice-fire evil dragon and the sacred aura? Yao Xuan nodded. They were, of course, aware of these arrangements. However, that sliver of sacred aura was something the ice-fire evil dragon had stolen from their Yao clan's sacred great alchemist, not something they had prepared. Originally, they had planned to swap the guarding treasures, but the ice-fire evil dragon was too cunning, so they had to delay. The guardian has been defeated. A sliver of sacred aura has already been taken, and the nether serpent swallowing heaven grass has also been removed. Yan Xuan shook his head. How could this happen? At this moment, an overwhelming dizziness struck. The nether serpent swallowing heaven grass was a rare herb that had grown in the spirit sea since ancient times. Even with countless talents from the Yao clan, they had never been able to retrieve it. Xiao Yan had shown incredible strength, but due to the difficulty of obtaining this herb, the Yao clan's higher-ups hadn't considered him a true competitor. After all, even with a semi-saint grade medicinal formula, if the materials couldn't be gathered, it wouldn't pose a threat. But now, with both the materials and the sacred aura taken, although it was not certain that Xiao Yan was the one behind it, if it was, their clan's geniuses might not be able to maintain the title of the continent's top alchemist. In the Spirit Valley, damn it, 6 of the spirit-gathering peaks have already been taken. There are only 4 left. To save time, I'll go for the nearest one, Xiao Yan said, and with that, his figure shot off toward the edge of the Spirit Valley. Damn Xun'er, he's scheming against me. And that Icefire evil dragon, what bad luck. Yan Xuan's figure also appeared beside the 8th peak's spirit pillar. After narrowly escaping the fatal strike from the Icefire evil dragon, he hurried to gather the last of his medicinal materials and immediately set off toward the 8th Spirit Gathering Peak. The Spirit Gathering Peaks were located at the far edge of the Spirit Valley mountain range, where the endless flow of heaven and earth energy poured out, carrying countless mysteries. According to the intelligence Yan Xuan had received, occupying a spirit-gathering peak would allow for a much more efficient alchemy process. This made the 10 peaks highly contested. Now, Yan Xuan, with his wild, red hair and a face as black as charred coal, his body bearing a few noticeable wounds, didn't let any of that stop him from heading toward the 8th peak. This peak has already been taken by me. Everyone else, please look elsewhere. A cold and fierce voice said from the top of the 8th peak, where a tall, elegant round platform stood. The man speaking was smiling eerily, his tone laced with murderous intent. Gua Di from the Green Mountain sect? Rumor has it that this guy is backed by a super sect on the Doyun continent. He's had exceptional talent since childhood, and has now reached the 7th grade immortal class mystic tier alchemist. He's even showing signs of competing with the ancient races. What a terrifying guy, some alchemists murmured as they watched others fleeing in fear, their retreat now obvious. Let's go. Since we can't get the spirit gathering peak, We'll have to find a quiet place to refine our pills. A moment later, the remaining strong figures, after seeing Guadi's overwhelming power and presence, shook their heads in defeat and quickly left. Finally, I can start refining the pills. This time, I will definitely show the ancient races just how powerful our Green Mountain sect is. Isn't it a bit too early to be so happy? Just as Guadi was preparing to refine a pill and secure the 8th peak, a lightning-fast black shadow slowly swept across the sky. With the posture of a higher being, it looked down at Guadi, and the disdain in its words was unmistakably clear. This is Yan Xuan of the Yin clan? At that moment, Guadi's excitement turned into unease, and his body trembled violently. I have my eye on this 8th peak. You should look elsewhere. A brown flame appeared around Yan Xuan, and immediately, countless energies on the peak began to wriggle, releasing an extremely scorching aura. The level of firepower was enough to make Guadi feel an old sense of heart palpitations. I'll fight you. Green Mountain Fist. Watching this, Guadi did not hold back, unleashing a dazzling flame that wrapped around his fist, shooting toward Yan Xuan. The intense fighting energy created gusts of wind in the sky, a truly frightening sight. An ancient clan's genius is not something you ants can compare to. Get lost. Facing the terrifying attack, Yan Xuan sneered coldly. The brilliant brown flame transformed into a ferocious fire dragon, and without any unnecessary gestures, the fire dragon roared out, instantly shattering Guadi's attack. Guadi was sent flying thousands of meters, his body feeling like a cold corpse. Along the way, the sound of bones cracking echoed loudly. An ancient clan's prodigy? Let's settle this with alchemy. Fire. Rise and form the cauldron. Clearing away the obstacles atop the peak, Yan Xuan set up multiple barriers, then extended his palm. Brilliant flames surged out, attempting to form an alchemy cauldron to start refining pills. Once the pill refining began, no one could contest him for this peak. Saying such things now is a bit premature. A proud laugh emerged, but before the sound could fully dissipate, the entire sky above the peak suddenly froze. Even the flames Yan Xuan conjured went out in an instant. Yan Xuan looked down, seeing a thin man in black standing below. A terrifying force gently spread out from above his head, and within that force, there was an oppressive feeling like nothing he had ever felt before. Xiao Yan. Looking at this figure and name already etched into his soul, Yan Xuan gritted his teeth and roared, wishing he could tear Xiao Yan apart. Yan Xuan of the Yin clan? Your actions toward my Xun'er were rather boring. Then, you even teamed up with Xun'er to ambush Ling Zishi. Let's settle our grudges here. After all, I'm not the type to procrastinate. Xiao Yan walked forward and added, Utter nonsense. The auction is won by the highest bid. What's that got to do with me? As for Ling Zishi, even though I teamed up with Xun'er to attack her, I don't think someone like you, a commoner, has the qualifications to even think of associating with her. Don't even bother looking at yourself in the mirror. You're nothing but an ant living at the bottom of this world, a filthy rat that can only survive in the dark, smelly, and ominous corners. How could you even compare to us, the ancient clans at the top of the pyramid in Doyun continent? You are a worthless waste. Looking at Xiao Yan now, countless feelings of hatred and anger erupted from the twisted, ugly corners of Yan Xuan's mouth. I have deep connections with the Ling clan. Provoking them is as good as provoking me. But the real reason is that you've angered my Xun'er. Xiao Yan slowly smiled, his laugh also carrying a murderous intent. I am the prodigy of the Yin clan. How could you compete with me? Besides, your precious one is nothing but a mere trinket in my eyes. And don't use so many excuses. I will gladly take your sacred flame. Today, here is where you will meet your end. Yan Xuan spoke with immense arrogance, his voice carrying a hint of pride. Due to his previous proximity to dragon scales and mud, he vaguely sensed a mysterious aura from Xiao Yan. That aura seemed to be the very treasure he had been searching for at the bottom of the spirit sea. Coupled with the sacred flame Xiao Yan had revealed earlier, Xiao Yan had now become the enemy of countless alchemists. If they could eliminate him, the sacred flame would naturally be theirs, which would greatly enhance their alchemical power. Enough of your nonsense. Today, I'll send you straight to hell. Xiao Yan snorted coldly, his dazzling amber flame forming a flame armor that wrapped around his entire body, making him look like a true fire war god, invincible in battle, unbeatable in attack. With such a level of power backing him, Xiao Yan now could easily crush Yan Xuan just with his sheer strength. Fire, come! Seeing Xiao Yan's overwhelming pressure, Yan Xuan let out a roar, and brown flames erupted from him as well. However, it only enveloped a few meters of his body, as though it feared Xiao Yan's amber-colored flames. You have some interesting things on you. How about you hand them over and apologize to Xun'er, and I'll spare you. After probing, Xiao Yan discovered a strange fluctuation coming from Yan Xuan's body. It seemed to be related to the forbidden technique scroll they had encountered earlier. Had Patriarch Yan Yun placed such a treasure on him? Or had Patriarch Yan Yun chosen this as the lesser evil to prevent other strong warriors from becoming agitated? I'm also very interested in the sacred flame on you, as well as the treasure from the bottom of the Spirit Sea. However, this time, you won't be able to defeat me. No matter what method you use, I will win. Yan Xuan roared arrogantly, as though victory was already in his grasp. After his words, the flames around him surged violently, and a rare heat wave spread out, filling the surrounding space with an intense sense of unease. Let's annihilate this guy. It won't be a waste of the thing I gave you. Although you can't unleash its full power now, just triggering it will be enough to wipe out Xiao Yan. Then, heh. From outside, Patriarch Yan Yun suddenly chuckled. Annihilating Xiao Yan was part of the rules of the Yao clan grand ceremony, so he had no other concerns. What is this guy planning? On the side, Xun'er's beautiful eyes were wide open as she anxiously observed the intense confrontation between Xiao Yan and Yan Xuan. Boom! The dazzling amber flames radiated immense pressure, causing Yan Xuan's muscles to tense. In order to resist the suppression of the sacred flame, he had to divert most of his soul power to defend against it. This weakened his strength. After all, Yan Xuan was not as strong as Xiao Yan. Sky-breaking rock burial. Seeing Yan Xuan like this, Xiao Yan raised his hand lightly. The fiery armor on his body shimmered with scorching flames, and then, within the amber's sacred flame, a hint of earth-colored fire was quickly extracted. The rocks and soil beneath the Spirit Valley mountain range trembled violently, causing a terrifying scene as if the earth was shaking. Flying sand and stones, the ground quaked. Countless forces responded to the earth-colored flames in front of Xiao Yan, as if something was brewing. How is his sacred flame even possible? Even us old-timers have never heard of flames that can strip away power? At this moment, some of the older, respected members of the Yao clan couldn't help but exchange surprised glances. The sacred flame was extremely profound, but even with their memories and experiences, they had never seen such a method from Xiao Yan. What exactly was going on? The sacred flame he's stripping out seems somewhat similar to the Fireheart Heavenly Rock, ranked 35th on the sacred flame ranking. But this amber flame he's using is completely unheard of. On the side, Yao Yun said to Yao Xin and Yao Wanyuan, her eyes flashing as she tried to discern Xiao Yan's sacred flame, but to no avail. Let's wait and see. I have a feeling this guy might be related to that vanished race. Xiao clan? Shoo. Poof poof. Rocks blasted up from the ground of the mountain range toward the 8th peak in the sky, instantly freezing the space along the way. The heavy pressure immobilized Yan Xuan. I'll kill you like I would a dog. Will you leave on your own, or shall I exterminate you? Above Xiao Yan, a huge orb of Fireheart Heavenly Rock, fused with countless stones and earth, emerged, containing an immense suppressive force. Xiao Yan knew that the ancient race's powerful experts had numerous methods. It probably wouldn't be so easy to wipe out Yan Xuan, so he spoke out. Little brat, don't be so arrogant. 3 mystic industry fires, 10,000 mirrors, mysterious annihilation. Seeing Xiao Yan's proud posture, Yan Xuan's eyes narrowed, and he roared, unleashing all his strength. Boom! Brown flames flowed from his body like blood, gathering before him into a massive brown mirror, 1,000 meters wide. The mirror was filled with an intense, scorching heat, as if it could burn through the void itself. Although this flame couldn't compare to the amber sacred flame, with just the Fireheart heavenly rock, an extremely terrifying competitive aura emerged. The two attacks, growing ever fiercer, would likely ignite this long-dormant Pill Valley. Boom! Good heavens, the 8th peak has erupted with such intense battle aura. I wonder who is fighting for dominance. At this moment, in Pill Valley, Yao Yichen and the others had already begun refining pills, so they could only spare a small part of their attention to observe. To think that you passed down your 3 mystic industry fires and the flame robe to Yan Xuan, Patriarch Yan Yuan, you really spared no expense. Looking at the dazzling display of the 2 attacks in Pill Valley, Elder Shun, she muttered sarcastically. The 3 mystic industry fires were Patriarch Yan Yuan's signature technique. This man was exceptionally gifted, dedicating himself to the study of flames day and night. Although he never acquired the sacred flame, after collecting the powers of dozens of great heavenly fire species, he spent 100 years to create this fire himself. The 3 mystic industry fires were brown in color, and their power far surpassed that of the great heavenly species. Patriarch Yan Yuan, in his pride, believed that his fire showed faint signs of being comparable to the sacred flame. Boom! Before anyone could react, the 2 fighters inside immediately launched their attacks. Across the 8th peak, countless celestial energies dispersed in all directions, with even space itself being twisted. Crush it! Burn it! The 2 of them simultaneously launched their attacks, sneering. Bang! 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 The violent energy ripples ravaged like lightning storms, shaking the entire world. To draw upon the power of heaven and earth with mortal strength was truly terrifying. Crack! Crack! The seemingly fierce brown light mirror began to crack as it came into contact with Xiao Yan's sky-breaking rock burial. Unable to withstand the core attack of Fireheart heavenly rock, it would probably explode after just a moment. A mere mortal flame dares to challenge the sacred flame. How laughable! Whoosh! Whoosh! A sneer appeared at the corner of Xiao Yan's mouth, and with a firm grasp, the massive sphere shattered, a thick aura suppressing Yan Xuan. The brown light mirror, like shattered glass, completely disintegrated, and an unprecedented deathly crisis engulfed Yan Xuan's heart. The sacred flame was the king of flames. How could a mere mortal-created flame possibly threaten it? Sacred flame, as terrifying as the rumors say. However, this also strengthens my resolve to possess you, no matter the cost. At that moment, an ancient, sacred power slowly surged within Yan Xuan's body, and an expression of rare madness appeared on his face. As the sky-breaking rock burial exploded, cracks appeared in the mountain range's void. Yet Xiao Yan didn't notice the energy in this world was beginning to stir, and its source was probably connected to Yan Xuan. Whoosh! After a burst of agitation, Yan Xuan was disheveled, his aura weak. Deep crimson scars were clearly visible, and the sky-breaking rock burial fell silent. However, there was no fear in Yan Xuan's eyes. Instead, they were filled with a frenzied fervor, like a madman, staring fiercely at Xiao Yan. At this moment, Xiao Yan was somewhat puzzled. Outside, there was complete silence. Who would have thought that the Yin clan's young prodigy, hailed as a favorite to win the championship, would be so utterly helpless under the attack of an unknown figure? From the beginning to the end, Xiao Yan only stood in midair, forming a rock sphere from the flames, and that was enough to severely injure Yan Xuan? How could they fight like this? In an instant, everyone couldn't help but gasp. It seemed that Yan Xuan had no chance of claiming victory anymore. Something doesn't feel right. Xun'er and Yao Yun, being sensitive women, noticed something unusual in Yan Xuan's demeanor. Coupled with Patriarch Yan Yuan's calm expression, they couldn't help but speak up. A nameless nobody forcing Yan Xuan to use his ultimate technique is quite an honor for him. The sacred flame on Xiao Yan's body, our Yin clan will gladly accept it. I hope the Yao clan leader won't allow unrelated parties to disrupt the rules of the grand ceremony. Patriarch Yan Yuan said with a faint smile, his composure unshaken. This guy seems very confident. Yuan and the others shrugged, clearly impressed. Who will win is still uncertain. I hope Patriarch Yan Xuan doesn't regret it, Xun'er said, sitting calmly, unaffected. No matter how powerful Yan Xuan was, he could never be a match for Xiao Yan, as Xun'er trusted Xiao Yan without reserve. Little brat, you forced me into this. You're strong, but you'll regret angering me. Now, feel the embrace of death. Light forbidden technique, heavenly nation sad rainbow. Yan Xuan's mouth curled into a beast-like grin, and the sharp sound of his voice rang out, like a goddess of light at the peak of the world pronouncing a judgment. What? At this moment, the many alchemists who had been refining pills on the mountainside felt the world around them tremble. Countless energies of heaven and earth transformed into strands of pure white light, exuding an aura of inviolable sacredness and overwhelming power. Waves of colorful rainbow light spread across the sky, showcasing boundless divine might, stripping away all life and vitality. Sadness, fear, pain, countless sensations flooded the minds of everyone present, making them feel incredibly small and powerless under such a force. Patriarch Yan Xuan, have you gone mad? In the blink of an eye, Xun'er stood up from her seat, her anger erupting in a roar. Humph! Little girl, this is the Yao clan grand ceremony. It's not some child's play. The strong are at the top, while the weak can only bow at the bottom of the world. Elder Yan Xuan sneered disdainfully. If anything happens to him, I will flatten your entire Yin clan, Xun'er said, sitting down again. However, a golden vein appeared between her brows, growing fiercer by the second. The fluctuations made even the Yao clan leader, a strong figure, harbor some doubts, as though he had seen something like this before. Everyone, please remain calm. The grand ceremony's trials are bound to cause some casualties. This was already warned about. Yao Xiani spoke with the demeanor of a mediator. This little girl must come from an incredibly terrifying background, Yuan said with an extremely grim expression. Even he could sense real horror from the fleeting golden vein that appeared on Xun'er's forehead. Soon, the entire mountain range began to hum and shake as the energies of heaven and earth were stripped away. A glorious aura gathered around the bloodied Yan Xuan, his face twisted with an uncontrollable madness. After bidding on the forbidden technique scroll, Elder Yan Xuan had kept it for himself. Within a month, he had thoroughly explored it. While he could not fully unleash it yet, even the partial forbidden technique, with just a fraction of its power, was enough to crush Xiao Yan into pieces. Once Xiao Yan fell, his soul power and sacred flame would be his own possession. At that point, stepping into the essence transformation realm and becoming an 8th grade sacred class alchemist would be as easy as flipping a hand. The hum of countless strands of light gathered into a brilliant rainbow, slanting down from the heavens. It carried supreme divine might, unsettling all the alchemists in the Pill Valley. Their hearts trembled violently, as if they were about to be overwhelmed by this force, their scalp tingling with an unprecedented sensory overload. So close to death. In that moment, they realized just how small they were, as a sense of pale helplessness washed over their bodies. This is all you're doing. Yan Xuan laughed maniacally. Strands of milky white light appeared around his body, and soon his entire form was being burned by the light strands. Brown flames, soul power, and even Do Qi all surged forth without restraint, pouring into the forbidden technique rainbow in front of him, attempting to bring the forbidden technique into full force and kill Xiao Yan. A forbidden technique required at least the strength of an 8-star Docian to fully unleash. With his 7-star Docian strength, Yan Xuan could not perform it completely. Yet now, by partially activating the forbidden technique, he had exhausted all his strength. This guy was clearly prepared to kill Xiao Yan with a single strike. Now that the partial forbidden technique had been activated, once the remaining energy gathered, this world-shattering attack would be enough to pulverize Xiao Yan into dust. At that time, claiming his soul essence and sacred flame would be sufficient compensation for his loss. The countless rainbow lights, after absorbing Yan Xuan's power, swelled even more. They gently covered the entire sky of Spirit Valley, sealing it in, greedily absorbing vast amounts of heavenly and earthly energy, like a cosmic river of light illuminating the earth, purging all evil in the world. Under this divine might, all resistance seemed insignificant. Moreover, the rainbow within the light river continued to roll, pouring down waves of irresistible emotions. Endless sadness, pain, and soft crying transformed the place into a true divine paradise. The participants in the grand ceremony who were refining pills seemed to have forgotten their situation, as waves of emotion surged in their hearts, extreme and tragic. So it's a forbidden technique. No wonder he's so fearless. Xiao Yan observed Yan Xuan's crazed actions, looking at the cosmic light river in the sky that contained divine power, yet he showed no fear. Instead, he couldn't help but laugh. The previous attack was just a warm-up. With the activation of the forbidden technique now, the blood in Xiao Yan's body, which had been dormant for so long, began to boil once again. The power of the forbidden technique was enough to threaten Xiao Yan's life, making him take it seriously. However, inside his body, there was a completely different force, like a giant dragon awakening. Demon power, battle intent surging, terrifying to the extreme. Let's see which is stronger, your half-finished forbidden technique or my half-finished Baxia body. Dragon God first transformation, second transformation, Baxia soul shadow. Faced with the level of attack from Huaxian, Xiao Yan showed no signs of retreat. He directly suppressed the demonic power, and with the implementation of Dragon God transformation, his strength surged to an entirely new level. Coupled with the scales of Baxia, he condensed the immense form of Baxia into an energy soul shadow behind him. A mere half-finished forbidden technique was still far from being able to contend with the forces of darkness. Boom! At that moment, the entire sky shook violently, and the cosmic light river blazed even brighter, as if at any second it might open a gate, unleashing its supreme divine might and radiant rainbow to pass judgment upon Xiao Yan. This madman! Absolutely a madman! In that instant, the external altar mountain erupted in chaos. Leaders from countless powers suddenly stood from their seats, their eyes narrowing as they intensely focused on the figures of Huaxian and Xiao Yan atop the crystalline prism. Without a doubt, these two were true lunatics. One was using a forbidden technique to attempt to kill his opponent, while the other was actually trying to use mortal strength to withstand that forbidden technique. What a guy! At this moment, some powerful figures couldn't help but cast odd glances at Patriarch Yan Xuan. To ensure Huaxian's success, this individual actually provided him with a forbidden technique scroll? Wasn't that utterly insane? Clan leader, this matter probably requires us to intervene. Yao Xian, momentarily losing his calm, could only direct his gaze toward Yao Wanyuan. Both Xiao Yan and Huaxian were exceptionally gifted. He certainly didn't want anything to go wrong in this competition. This kid probably intends to withstand the forbidden technique head-on. Let things proceed as they are. Otherwise, with so many people here, it would be hard to pacify them. Yao Wanyuan said coldly to uphold the Yao clan's rules. However, there was also an inkling of anticipation in his heart. He was well aware of the power of half-finished forbidden techniques. Even he felt a pang of trepidation, but looking at Xiao Yan's proud stance, he was curious whether Xiao Yan could truly bear it. If he could withstand this half-finished forbidden technique, Xiao Yan's name would surely echo throughout the entire Doyun continent. I thank the Yao clan leader for this favor. I will ensure our Yin clan leader pays a visit after returning. With Yao Wanyuan's reassurance, Patriarch Yan Xuan couldn't help but beam with a smile. As long as Yao Wanyuan didn't intervene, other strong figures had no need to worry. In ceremonial contests, life and death fell to fate, which was an unchanging rule of the Yao clan. Let's hope so. Facing Patriarch Yan Xuan's ridicule, Xun'er lightly shook her head without saying much. Her delicate hand rested against her fragrant cheek, her beautiful eyes exuding a rare chill. Through this aura, even some 8th-star Docian elders caught a whiff of a strong pressure. Huaxian, let's begin. I also wish to witness the power of the forbidden technique and see what exactly it can do to the world. Xiao Yan's body, covered in azure dragon scales, stood like an invincible war god, while the sole shadow of Baxia's tortoise shell loomed like a towering mountain behind him. He lightly stepped upon the void, addressing the barely breathing Huaxian. All right. Then I'll let you experience what is the world's most powerful force. Forbidden technique, descend. Seeing Xiao Yan like this, Huaxian exhausted his last ounce of strength and slammed his hands down hard, triggering the forbidden technique in its entirety, plunging him into a state of exhaustion. This strike was all he had left to rely on. Forbidden technique. As soon as Huaxian's voice fell, the entire sky sent ripples through the cosmic light river as if it were a beating heart. In the light river, countless rainbows morphed into roaring and tumbling tidal waves, all locking their gaze upon Xiao Yan. Crack! Suddenly, a faint void appeared within the cosmic light river, and countless rainbows cascaded down from its opening. Each drop of rainbow surged forth, creating a myriad of roaring waves, enveloping the entire Pill Valley in radiant brilliance, causing many to squint and shield their eyes from the piercing light. Rip! Before the attack even arrived, Xiao Yan felt the enormous tortoise-shaped Baxia soul shadow behind him radiating a powerful energy, clearly managing to block part of the force. However, Xiao Yan could still sense a wave of death emanating from this half-finished forbidden technique. The name of the forbidden technique was indeed well-deserved. Countless colossal waves roiled and crashed around Xiao Yan, completely surrounding him. He felt like a bird trapped in an abyss, unable to escape despite his struggles. The connection between himself and the surrounding energies was utterly severed. All he could do was wait quietly, hands bound, for judgment and the cold decree of death. So this is the so-called forbidden technique? Xiao Yan drew a sharp breath, then roared loudly, his voice carrying a hint of defiance. Die, Xiao Yan. Huaxian appeared wild, mocking him. Heavenly Kingdom's sad rainbow. Heavenly rainbow light. A soft, ethereal voice emerged, and instantly, countless rainbow-colored clouds gathered to form an incredibly dazzling, pure white palace. It shattered the void, erasing all elemental powers, and swiftly charged toward Xiao Yan with deadly intent. Within the pure white palace was the unique, terrifying power of a forbidden technique. If Xiao Yan were to be pulled inside, even with his immortality, it would likely be a certain death. I don't believe this mere half-finished forbidden technique can kill me. Body of Baxia, explode for me. Xiao Yan unleashed all his strength, leaving nothing behind. Brilliant dragon blood stained the Baxia soul shadow, and layers of endless green magma roared violently. His fist, covered by the Baxia scales, clenched tightly, preparing to strike with the most powerful blow, meeting the divine palace head-on. That blow contained Xiao Yan's strongest power from his dragon god transformation and the Baxia scales. It seemed like a simple strike, yet it appeared as if it could pierce through the heavens themselves.